Last night, something happened that I never expected. Something powerful. Something so real it felt almost divine in its timing. It left me trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of honesty. And at the same time, it left me relieved in a way I didn't even know I needed. Because for the first time, I spoke about you, about us, without hesitation, without hiding, without shrinking the truth to make it easier for the world to digest. And now I need you to hear it from me, from the deepest, most unguarded place in my heart. Because what happened wasn't just about me, it was about us. We were just sitting there, talking about ordinary things, life, work, dreams, disappointments, the usual flow of conversation that drifts lazily from one subject to another. Nothing dramatic, nothing intense. And then, without warning, the conversation shifted. The questions turned inward. They became personal, intentional, focused, focused on you, focused on us. It wasn't planned. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't one of those conversations where you see the emotional turn coming from miles away. It came out of nowhere. One of those moments that feels too precise to be random, too aligned to be coincidence, too meaningful to ignore. They asked about our relationship, not vaguely, not casually, directly, boldly. What's really going on between you two? I felt my breath catch for a second. I could have deflected. I could have laughed it off and made a joke. I could have shrugged and said, "It's complicated," and let that be the end of it. I've done that before. I've hidden behind ambiguity. I've protected us with silence. But something inside me shifted. In that moment, I realized I was tired. Tired of pretending like what we have isn't real. Tired of minimizing something that feels infinite. Tired of carrying the truth alone like it's something fragile that can't survive the light. So I answered. And once I started, I couldn't stop. It was like a dam breaking. All the feelings I've kept carefully folded away spilled out in a rush. I told them about the connection we share, the quiet, wordless understanding that flows between us like an invisible current. I told them how we can sit in silence and still feel completely understood. How sometimes one glance from you says more than an hour-long conversation with anyone else. I told them how you make me feel seen, not just looked at, not just noticed, seen, in a way that reaches beyond the surface and into the places I don't show the world, the vulnerable corners, the guarded edges, the parts of me that are still healing. With you, I don't feel like I have to perform. I don't have to impress. I don't have to shrink or exaggerate. I can just be, and that is rare. I told them how being near you brings me peace, how your presence steadies something restless inside me, how even on my worst days, the thought of you softens the sharpness of everything else. I told them you've become the safest place I know, not because you protect me from the world, but because you accept me as I am within it. They listened carefully, and then they said something that caught me off guard. You seem different when you talk about them, like something in you shifts. And they were right. Every time your name leaves my lips, something inside me softens. Something opens. It's like my soul exhales. There's a warmth that spreads through me, a sacred kind of vulnerability that I don't offer lightly. So I went deeper. I told them how much I care about you. I told them about the nights I stay awake thinking about you, wondering what you're dreaming about, wondering if you're sleeping peacefully. I told them about the quiet mornings when I look at the sky and silently hope your day unfolds gently. I told them about the way my heart reacts to the smallest messages from you, how even a simple "Are you okay?" can anchor me. I told them about that time we sat together in silence, and I realized that silence with you felt fuller than conversation with anyone else. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't empty. It was complete. And then, without dressing it up or softening it, I said it. I'm in love with them. The words hung there, but no one laughed. No one judged. They just listened. And in their quiet acceptance, I kept going. Because I've been holding so much inside. Not just the beautiful parts, but the messy ones too. The confusion about what we are. The uncertainty about where we're going. The fear of missteps. The overthinking. The vulnerability of loving someone without a defined map. I admitted all of it. I said that even with the uncertainty, there's one thing I'm absolutely sure of. What we have is real. They asked about you, about what you feel. And I told them the truth. I can't speak for you. I don't want to put words in your heart. But I told them what I see when I look into your eyes. I see softness that isn't there for everyone. I see walls that lower, just a little, when we're alone. I see the way your energy shifts around me, the way your voice changes in subtle ways. I told them I believe you feel it too. That magnetic pull, that invisible tether, that soul deep recognition that doesn't need logic to validate it. And then came the question I knew was coming. So are you just friends? It felt like a storm cloud hovering over us. My chest tightened. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. Because that question carries so much weight. It tries to compress something vast into something simple. But I took a breath, and I told the truth. No, we are not just friends. Saying it out loud felt like stepping into open air after living in a hidden room. It was terrifying and freeing all at once. I explained that what we have goes beyond friendship, that it isn't just companionship. It isn't just attraction. It isn't something ordinary or easily categorized. Our souls recognize each other. There's a familiarity that feels ancient, a closeness that doesn't need constant explanation. It's rare, sacred, cosmic. They looked surprised, but not in a mocking way, more like they were witnessing something genuine. Then they asked, "Are you dating? Are you in a relationship?" And that question was harder. Because what do you call something that defies labels? What word can hold something this layered? I told them we don't have a label, that we never needed one because labels feel too small. What we share doesn't fit neatly into boxes. It's more than romance, more than friendship, more than desire. It's belonging. We don't just know each other. We see each other. We feel each other. We choose each other in quiet, unspoken ways. But I also admitted the fear. The real reason we've kept this close to our chests. I told them I've been scared, not of my feelings, never of you, but of the world, of how people misunderstand what they don't experience themselves, of how quickly something pure can become distorted by outside opinions. What would people say? Would they treat us differently? Would it complicate our lives? Would we lose people? I told them I kept us in the shadows not out of shame, but out of protection, like shielding a candle from harsh wind. Because when something feels sacred, you guard it carefully. But last night, I realized something. Love isn't meant to live in darkness. Isn't meant to be hidden forever. Not for validation, not for applause, but because real things shine. And when they asked about the future, I didn't hesitate. I said I see you in it. Not in a rushed, fantasy-driven way. Not in a dramatic, overnight transformation, but in a steady, intentional way. I see us building something strong, something rooted in choice, in growth, in patience. I see us learning each other more deeply. I see laughter filling quiet rooms. I see disagreements handled with respect. I see forgiveness when we stumble. I see passion that doesn't fade. I see healing happening side by side. I see us choosing each other again and again, not because we're trapped, but because we want to. And more than anything, I see freedom. A love that doesn't cage. A love that doesn't control. A love that expands us instead of shrinking us. That's what this feels like. Freedom. And now, After speaking all of that into existence, I can't go back to pretending it's smaller than it is. I don't want to hide anymore. I love you. Not in a fragile way. Not in a temporary way. Not in a way that depends on perfect circumstances. I love you in a way that feels grounded and intentional. I love your strength and your softness, your quiet thoughts and your wild heart. I love the way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. I love the way your presence makes me feel like I've come home to something I didn't even know I was searching for. Loving you feels like discovering a prayer I've been whispering my whole life without realizing it had your name in it. And now I want us in the open. I want to hold your hand without hesitation. I want to stand beside you without flinching. I want the world to see us, not for attention, but because hiding something beautiful feels wrong. Our love has the power to soften people, to remind them that something genuine still exists, that depth still exists, that soul level connection is real. We don't need permission. We don't need approval. We don't need applause. We just need to keep choosing each other every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's complicated, even when fear whispers doubts. I will choose you because you are my truth. And last night, I finally found the courage to speak that truth out loud. Now, my love, I want us to live it. Let's walk in honesty. Let's stand in the light. Let's stop shrinking something that was never meant to be small. From this day forward, I don't want to love you in fragments or shadows. I want to love you fully, openly, fearlessly. Because what we have isn't accidental. It's intentional. It's rare. It's ours. And I am done pretending it is anything less.